We need to indicate that we arrived here, and on our first engagements we had an interaction with the Deputy Minister, Dr. Abdullah Nasser Lootah, who is the Deputy Minister for Cabinet Affairs, who shared with us their experience in terms of a government experience exchange office, which is something that we have at home as well in our government arrangement, where we have the Ministry of Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation as led by Minister Ramokgopa in the presidency. So the aim of that interaction was to see how best can we collaborate with them in that government experience exchange office with our ministry back home to expedite service delivery to our various constituencies. And I think they are indicating to us that so far there are several countries that have entered into agreements with the United Arab Emirates on that particular initiative. They are indicating to us as well that the aim of that initiative is to make it a point that they increase efficiency of various government all over the world. So we also have almost 12 countries in the continent who have taken up that opportunity. And it's another opportunity that when we get home, we have to engage with our sister departments, especially DPME in the presidency, to see to it that they interact with the Ministry of Cabinet Affairs this side, so that whatever decision at a policy level that we do, it can really help us to expedite service delivery to our people. We also had an opportunity during our working visit here in Dubai to interact with key stakeholders that are doing charity work on the ground, and also the total social upliftment of the people here in the United Arab Emirates. They do have a diplomacy lab that hosted us during that interaction, and they then brought in young women who are in that space of social activities in their various communities. We did interact with them on our G20 theme and the whole issue of making sure that we do have a legacy beyond us as a country hosting the G20. And it was some sort of an interactive engagement with those young women who are, others are still studying on matters of diplomacy, others are still studying on matters of geopolitical studies that they want to pursue through their international relations. And the diplomacy lab is then mandated by the government here in the UAE to coordinate all those people into one room. So we addressed them yesterday, and really we shared with them the theme of our G20, that it is on matters of solidarity, equality and sustainability. And what blew my mind was that they were more interested on the issue of making sure that we have a legacy project for the people of South Africa during our G20 presidency. And I did share with them our engagements with the society as a whole, your social sector engagements through our various work streams that we have. You know, ever since we took over from Brazil, several sister departments have been engaged in those several work streams that we have, be it in the area of health, in the area of youth, women empowerment issues. They are also working around engaging with several stakeholders from other G20 members to make it a point that when you go to the Leaders Summit, we go there with clear declaration that need to be declared by our various heads of states. So we did share with them as well our program that we call Outreach Program, that is centered around making it a point that we bring our people involved, directly involved in our G20 presidency. of course, you'll appreciate the fact that President Cyril Ramaphosa, ever since he took over the baton from Brazil, he had emphasized on the need for us as a South African government to make our G20 presidency to be about the people of South Africa and to also be about the people of the continent of Africa. So it should be people-centered G20 that we have, because it is happening for the first time in a continent of Africa, and we are working around the clock in those kind of sector engagements that we have done during our various work streams that we have already started working. And also we are intending that when we speak about issues of inclusive economic growth, you then get your people to be involved, so that we then respond to the call as made by President Cyril Ramaphosa that the G20 must be people-centered G20, so that our people don't just see leaders arriving in November and they don't understand what are they in the country for. So we are really pleased with the work that we have done so far. I think we are left with some few days towards the Leaders Summit, and the work, several work streams that have done their work, of course, in those various sectors that I have alluded to, are really indicating to us that there is serious positive outcomes that they're getting from those several work streams. And also we will then see to it that through that kind of a setup, we do have our people being involved, so that they are now the ones that will also monitor us as a government of South Africa to say, you made a declaration on inclusive economic growth. How far are you during your multilateral forum in making sure that you do deliver in line with what you have declared in your Leaders Summit? And also in the space of the whole issue of addressing the socio-economic needs of our people. You know, majority of our young people are unemployed. When we speak about inclusive economic growth, we are intending to really drive that economic investment that can help us to address the issue of high rate of unemployment that is affecting mainly our young people. If we have to deal with issues of skills transfer and other issues of training them to be competitive in the markets that exist within the G20 group, we have to do that. So yesterday's engagement in the diplomacy lab, most of the questions that came was, how do you get young people involved? How do you get women involved? How do you get people with special needs involved during your G20 presidency? So through those kind of policies that we have put together towards inclusive economic delivery for our people, there is somehow we are going to really respond positively to the issue of addressing their socio-economic challenges. But also what blew my mind was that, you know, Dubai is the economic hub of this United Arab Emirates. And also they are doing well. They are specializing in the space of artificial intelligence. It's an issue as well that we have to really learn some few lessons from them and make it a point that we go back home and deal with the whole issue of having a regulatory framework on how we can regularize the use of artificial intelligence, and also make it a point that we guard against any forms of violent extremism or any form of misinformation that can be used by those people who will be using AI to deal with those kind of issues, because we are seeing it already happening in some parts of the world. So we have to deal with a regulatory framework that can make it more safer for us as the country of South Africa, because we are still developing economy and we are also grappling with the issue of digital technology. So United Arab Emirates is one country that we have visited during our state visit with the President Cyril Ramaphosa in 2018, and there were several memorandum of agreements that were entered into by ministers coming from South Africa and also ministers in this side. So we believe that we have to elevate all those issues that are of common interest for our two countries, so that we can be able to really leverage on those opportunities and really change the lives of our people for the better. So last engagement was around the issue of us engaging with the South African business people who are based here in Dubai. We had an interaction with people in the real estate space. We also engaged with them that are in the space of health care services. We also engaged with those that are in the space of hospitality and the whole concept of hotel and leisure services. So they shared with us their frustrations in terms of how our consular general here in our mission in Dubai need to improve on certain issues. And they really said to us that they are pleased with the services that they are getting through our consular services here in Dubai, but there's a lot in terms of issues of visa management and the process to expedite them that needs to be looked into, because these are South Africans who are going all over the world, who are making us proud to drive our economic diplomacy project, and we ought to work together with our various missions and make it a point that if it's an issue of a visa application, it really needs to be attended within stipulated time period. And we also agreed with them that we are going to work with Department of Trade and Investment back home and competition to see to it that how do we have DTIC attaché here in this mission of Dubai. Like I said, this is an economic hub of this country. We have to have a DTIC attaché who can help us to register biggest numbers in terms of our trade margins with the United Arab Emirates. So far the visit really went on very well, and we're really pleased with the engagements that we have this side with key stakeholders and with our counterparts in the United Arab Emirates. And we are really pleased that these engagements will help us to strengthen our people-to-people relationship. You know, they are very good in the issue of preserving the heritage landscape of this country. They spoke to us about the Museum of the Future, and it's one issue that we ought to engage with our Ministry of Arts and Culture back home and see how best we can expedite a process of them having exchange programs on how we can have similar arrangement of preserving our heritage landscape utilizing technology, because when you speak about a museum of the future, you can utilize a digital technology to access information in terms of how our people used to live before civilization. You do have Mapungube World Heritage Site, which is a site that is declared by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site. We can also look into ways on how we can utilize Dubai using their technology and their skills and see to it how do we share that beautiful history of our people during those times before civilization, and see how best we can share that indigenous knowledge system to the young people of today. Because if we don't equip these young people with ancient way of living before civilization, then you'll then subject them to a situation where they get to be told by TikTok and other social media on how to conduct themselves as normal human beings. So these are the kind of projects that we were busy with here since our arrival in the United Arab Emirates, and we are really keen to make it happen that we go back home and report to the relevant sister departments and see to it that we really increase our cooperation in those areas of interest for both our countries to can be able to strengthen our economic relationship and also our bilateral relationship with the United Arab Emirates.